Hello, my name is Deirdre Walsh. I'm the Access Officer in the Institute of Art, Design and Technology in Dún Laoghaire. And I'm here today to tell you about the access and student supports we have in IADT and also about a specific access route called Access IADT for people who've attended one of our 9 linked DESH secondary schools and also for people from the Traveller and Roma communities. So first of all, I will start with sharing a presentation that goes through some of the courses we have on offer in IADT. And then we'll look at some of the student supports that we have for any student who becomes a student here and who might meet different criteria. And then also we'll look in detail at the Access IADT route. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Great. So we'll just start the slideshow from the beginning. And you're very welcome. And I hope that you find this informative, and you can always email me at access@iadt.ie as well with any questions. So we offer courses in a lot of different areas. We are a fine art college, so there are lots of courses in art and design that do require a portfolio. Then we also offer a range of really fantastic courses in the area of business and entrepreneurship, humanities, film and media and photography production, technology such as game design and creative computing, and also applied psychology. These are our courses in enterprise and humanities, and you'll see a new business and psychology course there. And this is actually an example of one of our tertiary programs, which means the first 2 years are in a further education college, for example, Bray College of Further Education. And then the second 2 years, the student will complete their degree in on campus here in IADT. But they are a student of IADT from the very beginning, and they're undertaking a level 8 undergraduate course from the very beginning as well. So the tertiary programs, this business and psychology as an example, is by direct application to the further education college. So it could be to BIFI. So it's quite an easy and accessible entry route as well. And then in the Faculty of Film Art and Creative Technologies, you'll see lots of courses here that are design or art. And if there's an asterisk, they require a portfolio to be submitted. That submission deadline has already passed for entry this September, but it might be of interest for the following year. And then there are some courses as well that don't require a portfolio, such as game design, creative computing, applied psychology, for example. So there's really something for everybody, and it's worthwhile looking at our website and seeing the course descriptions and the module descriptions as well. So moving on to why we do the work we do in Access in IADT. So we really want to support the participation and success of underrepresented or diverse students in IDT, support them to receive the information in time and to understand the pathways and how to enter higher education and enter IDT, and then to have a successful and rewarding time as a student while they're here. And sometimes financial stresses or financial barriers can act as a challenge for students. So we're also here to provide information on financial supports and administer financial supports to students in need as well during their time in IADT. So there's different pathways to IADT and to higher education. So the main pathway is by doing the Leaving Cert and applying via the CAO and entering via the CAO in September. And also people can apply for the HERE and DARE routes alongside their CAO application. So HERE is the higher education access route for people experiencing socioeconomic disadvantage. And DARE is the disability access route to education for people with diagnosed disabilities and neurodivergence. The deadlines for those have passed for this academic year for entry in September, but again, they might be of interest for the following academic year. And last year, we opened up a new route called Access IADT. specifically for this institution, IADT, and for people from our DESH-linked secondary schools, and this year we're including Traveller and Roma as an essential criteria, even if Traveller or Roma students haven't gone to one of the DESH-linked schools. So it is quite similar to the HERE route in terms of the benefits. However, the application process is simplified, and it is directly to IADT, so we can work more closely with applicants and support them in their application. Alternatively, students after, finishing school or their time in school can go on to do a PLC or further education qualification, again, in a further education college. Could be local to here, it could be Biffy or Sallynoggin further education colleges, for example, and receive a QQI award. And then students can use that QQI award to apply via the CAO to IADT, or they can use their Leaving Cert if they also have their Leaving Cert. And many people do take that route. They do an extra year, especially in terms of developing a portfolio. It's quite a common way to enter IADT. So there's funding and financial supports available to students facing, socioeconomic disadvantage in particular, or students who might be part of certain cohorts, such as people seeking international protection or people from Traveller or Roma communities, for example. The main way to pay any student contribution fees is through the SUSI grant. And the application is now open for the SUSI grant for people wanting to enter higher education this September or further education this September. So I'd recommend any students and their parents or guardians and families sit down and have a look at the SUSI application. And it's really the only way to get your student contribution fees paid, which can be over €3,000. And depending on what level of grant you get, you might also get a maintenance grant as well. And then once you become a student in IADT or elsewhere, I recommend that all students get in contact with the Access office. For example, it's access@iadt.ie here in IADT. And we'll tell you all about the different funds and bursaries that you can apply for. These will also be advertised around the campus on digital screens. There'll be information tables and there'll be emails to all students as well. So students can apply for the Student Assistance Fund to support with the costs of attending college. And in first year only, students can also apply for something called the 1916 Bursary Grant. There's usually quite a short window when this is open in first year. And for students who are eligible for HERE or who are eligible for the special rate of SUSI, they're more than likely eligible also for this 1916 Bursary Grant. And it can be quite significant. The top tier of the grant is €5,000 a year. And once you get it successfully in first year, you'll automatically get it for every year of study. So it's quite significant, it can be really transformative. There may be extra scholarships or fee waivers for people from specific cohorts or groups. There's always emergency funding or crisis funding available as well. And the Students' Union can often help students on this campus and on other campuses as well. So I'd really recommend you find out what's available and when the timelines are to apply and what the criteria is to apply, and Access staff can support anybody with finding that information and proceeding with their applications as well. I'm going to show you a video here about Lana. She's one of our Access Leader students in IDT. She studies third year. She's in third year studying applied psychology. And to become an Access Leader, it's for students who want to take on some additional work, to give back to students maybe who are similar to themselves coming through DESH schools or from underrepresented groups, and who want to mentor and support those younger students coming through into college. So this is Lana's video. Yeah, that was Lana, and I hope that gives you an idea of what the campus is like here and what it might be like to study here as well. We're going to move on now to the Access IADT entry route. So the benefits of this route are that you might be able to get in on a below the points place to IADT. You still need to apply via the CAO, and you need to have at least one IADT course on your CAO and whatever preference you want. And always put your first preference first for whatever courses you want. And then, for example, if a course was 400 points and you had 360 points, you might be able to get in at 360 points, which could mean the difference of getting the course or not. So there's on average about a 10% reduction in points for people who are eligible and who need the below the points entry. You might get the points anyway and not need the below the points entry. But if you do, this could be really helpful for you to get into the course that you want to get into. In addition to that, there's a financial payment in first year for people who are eligible for this route. And students are also invited to an early orientation and given one-to-one support from the Access Service as well. You can also still have applied for the National Here and There schemes. That's no problem. This can be in addition to that. And it is just to IADT. So who can apply? So you need to either be doing your Leaving Cert or already have your Leaving Cert, or be doing your QQI award or have a QQI award already. You need to apply to IADT through the CAO, and you must have at least one IADT course listed as one of your preferences. And you need to still be under 23 years of age so under 23 years of age on the 1st of January of this year. And you also need to meet the following eligibility criteria. So I'll talk through these criteria, and I'll also have a look at the information on our website and the application form as well. So the essential criteria is that you need to have attended one of our linked DET secondary schools for at least 2 years. And the schools are all listed there. So you should be aware if you've attended one of those schools for at least 2 years, or be a member of the Irish Traveller or Roma communities. So if you're a member of the Irish Traveller or Roma communities, you don't necessarily have to have attended one of the DET linked schools. You might meet both of those criteria also. And then in addition to this essential criteria, you need to have met at least 2 of these other criteria. So your parents have not gone to college, higher education. You are from a target group underrepresented in higher education, and we'll look at those target groups in a minute. You live in an area of urban or rural disadvantage. So there is a Pobble deprivation map. And again, this is linked from our website where you can put in your air code and you can find out if you do live in an area that's considered to have disadvantage. You or your family received a means tested payment from the Department of Social Protection for at least 26 weeks in 2023. So it's important to keep note of the years we're asking for here. And in the application form, you will see example types of payments to help you understand if you did receive one of these payments or not. You or your family had or have a medical card or GP visit card that was in date on the 31st of December 2024, so at the end of last year. And your family income falls on or below this income limit for 2023. So if you think you meet at least 2 of these criteria, then you are eligible, as well as the essential criteria. So you need to fill in the Access IADT online form. Again, I'll show you this in a minute. And you need to do this with your parents or guardians, as they'll have to provide some information for you as well. It will take approximately 30 minutes to fill in the form, but we do recommend that you look through the example PDF of the form first to prepare before you complete it online, because you won't be able to save it online and come back to it. You will be able to upload supporting documents in the online form, but if you're having any challenges in doing this, you can also email them to access@iadt.ie. And the deadline is Friday, the 11th of April. So it's the Friday just before the Easter break. So after you submit your form, we may be in touch just to request any further documents or if there's any gaps in your application. And then we will let you know if you meet the eligibility for this route or not. And then the next step is to get, if you do meet the eligibility for this route, the next step is to get offered a course via the CAO offers, usually late August, early September. And at that point, if you're being offered a course via the CAO, we can then see if you need the below the points entry or not and offer you a below the points place if you need it. We do reserve one place on every course for this entry route. So if there's competition for these below the points places, we may need to go with the person who has the slightly higher CAO points. But people sometimes also come through the DARE and HERE routes, and they can use the below the points access via those routes as well. All eligible applicants that become IADT students, so even if you don't require the below the points access, receive the early orientation and the payment in first year, and also ongoing support from us in the access service here in IADT. So remember that the CEO does have a change of mind option between May and July, and this is free of charge. If you do ever want to change your CEO order of preference or types of courses you've listed. Unfortunately, this does not apply to the restricted programs that require a portfolio submission, as that deadline has already been passed for this September. So do follow us on social media, and an upcoming date to note is the 29th of May, which is the Graduate on Show exhibition. And we recommend anyone to join that to see the IADT campus and get a sense of student life and work here in IADT. And you can contact me, Deirdre Walsh, on the access service at access@iadt.ie. So I'm going to start looking now at the website. Great. Okay, so this is Access IADT entry route on the website. And you'll see it has the deadlines there. It has the link to the online form, which I will look at in a second. It has the contact information. And it also importantly has the criteria again, the essential criteria that we talked through, and also the other criteria. So you need to meet 2 of the other criteria indicators. And then importantly, it explains some of those indicators. So these are the National Access Plan target groups. So one of the criteria was that if you meet one of these target cohorts of students, so students who are lone parents or teen parents, students who are migrants or refugees, or experience of the international protection system, or from ethnic minorities, students who have experience of the care system, of domestic violence, students who are themselves carers, students who have experienced homelessness, with experience of the criminal justice system, and students with disabilities, including intellectual disabilities. So if you think you tick one or more of those boxes, you can do that in the application. And it explains again what the DESH-linked secondary schools are. So there's some advice here on how to prepare for your application. So please do look at the eligibility criteria with your family. And if you're unsure, you can always email us and we can support you in understanding if you might meet the criteria. Download a copy of the form. So this is an example PDF of the form, and we'll look at that in a minute. And read through it, prepare your answers, prepare your documents, and you'll be really ready then to do your online application. And these are some of the documents that you might need to prepare depending on what criteria you're intending to meet. So, for example, if you're from the Traveller or Roma communities, you'll need to provide a letter from a professional to confirm that you're a member of these communities. If you are saying you have received a means tested payment in 2023 for 26 weeks, you'll need proof of that. If you're ticking the box that you have a medical card that is currently in date or was in date at the end of 2024, you'll need to provide proof of that. And if you're providing proof of income, you can get a document from Revenue to do so. And in the application form, it will explain the different types of documents that you can get from your online revenue account. And it just explains here as well about the allocation of the places. So if there is competition for places, an IADT committee will review the applications and base the outcome on the CAO points received and the proof of eligibility. And again, you will receive your CAO offers usually at the end of August. And at that point, you'll know if you'll be joining us in IADT. And the contact information is there again. I'm going to have a look at the PDF form. So, there we go. Okay, so this can be downloaded from that web page. So it'll ask for your personal information. The air code is important there, so we can check your area in terms of if it's an area of disadvantage or not. Your CAO number is very important so that we can work with the admissions office at the time of offers of courses. We'll need you to indicate what courses you have applied for in IADT, and if you're applying using your Leaving Cert or QQI. So information on the school you've attended, or if you went to a further education college as well. And then it goes into the eligibility criteria. So you need to confirm you meet the essential criteria. And if you are saying you're a member of the Roma or traveller communities, you'll be asked to upload a letter at that point. And then there's information about your family, about your parents or guardians in terms of if they went to higher education or not, because that's one of the indicators. And also about income, household income, which is also one of the indicators. Then about means tested social welfare payments, and you can upload a document in the form as proof there about your medical card. And again, you can upload the medical card number and a correspondence about the card or a photo of the card. And then it explains the types of documents from revenue that you can upload to give proof of income for 2023. So it gives you the opportunity to tick as many of these boxes as apply to you. And finally, and very importantly, it gives you space to include a personal statement. So we recommend you take time preparing this, and it can be quite short, but to really focus on, your hopes for your education, your hopes for the future, why you want to study in IADT, and why you feel you meet the eligibility for this route. And if there was anything in the form, any question that you weren't asked, but that it's information you feel is important, you can include it here also. And we do also give a caveat or an additional bit of flexibility whereby you can submit a letter of support outlining your suitability for this route, even if you feel you don't fully meet the access criteria for the route. And finally, I'm just going to have a brief look at the entry route online form, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. So it starts off like this, and there's data consent, and then similar to how the PDF was laid out, it'll just ask you for your personal information, and it'll go on to educational information, and then finally the eligibility criteria information. And you can submit that online. So the only way to apply is using this online form, but the example form is there to help you prepare before you do the online form. And the links are there. So the online form link is there, and further down, the example PDF form is there. Okay, well, I hope that was useful. Again, my name is Deirdre Walsh. I'm the Access Officer in IADT, and you can contact me at access@iadt.ie. And we really hope to see applications come in from anyone interested in studying in IADT by the 11th of April. Thank you.